on how to download, install, and use Google Earth Pro on desktop. Google Earth recently released a very nice and sleek browser interface for their platform, but their desktop software is extremely powerful. It's known as a GIS, Geographic Information Software, and it's probably one of the easiest types of the software to use and to create professional looking maps with. So we're going to introduce it and talk about it. If you don't already have it installed on your computer, you go to this website here and download it and install. And once you do that, you can open it up. It looks like a gray Earth. It says Start Google Earth Pro, and that will bring up the software. And it usually comes with some level of hints and different ways you can use the software effectively. And you have to have an internet connection still, even though this isn't browser-based, because they're feeding a lot of the aerial photography and elevation, all the other types of data through the internet. It's not all stored on your machine. So here is the view that comes up, and you can zoom in and out of the area using your mouse cursor wheel. And if you hold down your mouse button and then drag your mouse around, it will drag the planet around into different views. And so you can also control those zoom features with these little buttons on the side here, and they'll change your perspective. So it's just playing around with those. And if you ever need to get back to north orientation, you can just double click on this little compass here on the north part, and it will reorient you in the right direction. So one of the most powerful parts about a GIS is these layers, and you can add many different layers of information to get an idea of what's going on in an area, in a mapped area. The default layers that Google provides are borders and labels and places. The photos layer is changing now, but they're still providing some level of photos. And then roads, and then you can turn 3D buildings on and off, and this feature is available for some of the larger cities, where it will show you the buildings. And then you can also turn terrain on and off, and definitely suggest you have terrain on at all times, because turning it off basically flattens out your view, and I'll show you here. So that's what you get when you turn terrain off. And then you can add your own places. So I already have some of these places filled in here, and any kind of KML or KMZ file can be loaded into this map. And I have a module, some KMZ files from my online geology class, and I can turn those on and off. If you double click on a feature, a layer in that, it will zoom you to the extent of that layer, and you can view it. It doesn't look like it's wanting to show up really well right now. That's what the big giant red X is. But that is the different places. And then you can search for new places. Their example has an address. You can also search for latitude and longitude. It's a little picky in how you do that. But typing in a random latitude and longitude, and it will bring you right to it. So searches for both place names and coordinates, as long as you type the coordinates in right. You can also add your own features to the map if you want to add that. So I can turn layers on and off just by clicking these little check boxes here, and I can expand them and see more information about those layers. If I want to make my own, I can use these buttons up here, and there's all kinds of interesting things you can add. We'll just do place marks for now. And here you can add a little point, and the default is this little push pin. You could make your own label and change the colors and do all kinds of other fancy things. And then you can see that there, and you can even save it as a KML file. So, and get directions and all kinds of other features. So this is a very feature-rich, relatively intuitive software right here. Another really nice feature about Google Earth Pro is this time slider. If you click on this, it'll bring up this little bar here, and notice it has dates on it. And here's the most current imagery, but you can drag it around to different imagery dates. And it will show you historical imagery for that area if it's available. So that's a really useful tool to look at older scenes if you want to see how things change over time or something like that. And then another tool that I use very frequently is this little ruler shaped tool here. It's a measuring tool. You can measure distances between roads. You can also measure, how long a path might be. You can measure out a path, many different line segments. You can also create a polygon, which is just like a shape, right? Measure out the area of that polygon. There's all kinds of nice measurement features that you can use. So that is it for a very brief introduction to Google Earth Pro. I definitely recommend you using it. It's very nice, free software, especially if you are interested in making maps or just examining the terrain, doing some GIS type measurements and things like that. So thank you very much.